The views and opinions during this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the sponsors or executive producers. This program contains conversation, discussion, debate, which a truly free society would neither fear nor suppress. However, in some socially inept areas, certain religious fanatics and ultra-sensitive and extreme political affiliates violate your First Amendment rights by attempting to control what you watch, listen to, write, and speak. We feel that this is unconstitutional and un-American. And now we present the MKULTRASOUND podcast. Live from Studio Diablo in Chicago, Illinois, this is MKULTRASOUND.
Get with the countdown.
I speak jive.
Forget it, man. Blast off for Kicksville. Shake this square world. Blast off for Kicksville.
I speak jive.
Forget it, man. Get with the countdown.
I speak jive.
Forget it, man. Blast off for Kicksville. Shake this square world. Blast off for Kicksville.
I speak jive.
Forget it, man.
Well, here we are. It's a first. We got Emily Seifert with us.
Hey.
And for the first time, we're taking a caller from Boston. We've got my old friend, Rob. Rob.
Good evening, Alex.
Hey, nice to hear
How are
you.
ya?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a holiday.
Is a
I'm sorry, what?
holiday.
It's a holiday.
Yeah.
You know what day it is?
Yeah, it's like I didn't even know it until I woke up today, and completely forgot it was MLK Day today.
No, it's Tracy Gunn's birthday. He's 53 years old. Tracy Guns is 53 today. So happy birthday to Tracy Guns. And also Paul Stanley from Kiss. He's 68. So yeah, it's Tracy Guns Day.
Oh, very nice.
Another milestone we hit this week is on YouTube. We have our own domain now. So it's youtube.com/c/the MKUltrasound podcast. So I want to thank Cassie and Angela Denk for really pushing that and getting us some new subscribers on there. And so that's that part. We know what holiday it is. Interesting week, hasn't it, Rob?
Yeah.
Last week
Well, in the political world, it's always an interesting week, isn't it, these days?
Yeah, before we get to that, though, you're going to like this story. Back in 1997, when I was hanging out with Rob and his buddies from the East Coast, we got to participate in a bar fight. There's this fucking place in Indianapolis called Cy Green's on the east side.
Yeah.
I remember you guys, it was like your last night in town, and you said it was the best time you had while you lived in Indy that summer.
Yeah, I think I was like 20 years old back. I had just turned 21 years old, so a couple of guys from my college came up to Indianapolis to visit, and you took us to probably the seediest bar in Indianapolis, and then by the end of the night, all hell broke loose. And
some guy smacked his chick, and
Yeah.
that was it. We got up, chairs were flying, fists were flying. The police came.
Vigilantes.
I went out and got in the car with my girlfriend, Heather, at the time. I don't know how you guys got out because the cops came in and started arresting people. I sat in the car. We acted like we just showed up. So they asked us if we saw the fight. We're like, no, we just got here. So
I think we did a quick exit out the back door. So
I've never seen anything like that to this day. That was 20.
Neither have I, and I haven't exactly been a shrinking violet when it comes to being in bars. And this is of course 23 years later. So I just remember everybody was just throwing haymakers, not just the guys but the women too. So it was a wild night, and I think after that we kind of lost contact, and then we reconnected about 4 or 5 years ago. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks to there's some good things about social media, and that's one of them is reconnecting with old friends.
No question about it.
Rob is a wing connoisseur like me, and if I'm not mistaken, you went to the place where very first place that they ever made buffalo wings. Am I correct?
That's right. So the Anchor Bar over in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing to write home about. It's a tourist trap, and I could tell you can come out to my area, and I can take you to 3 or 4 places that blows it away.
That's gonna be a tour for you, Alex. A wing tour. I think we should plan that.
Yeah.
I mean, you should plan it.
Oh my gosh.
No question about it.
We'll all promote it.
Yeah, I got
my wife is a big wing connoisseur too, and she's a she's a pretty little thing, and you wouldn't believe it, but she could put us under the table when it comes to eating hot food. No word of a lie.
I'm looking forward to it. I guess we're gonna hit the bird's nest here in Chicago.
Yeah, that's what I want her to go to. I know there's a couple of other places that you like, but I definitely want to get her to the bird's nest, and we'll hopefully get out there in the next few months.
That'd be great. Have you on here in person. Do you remember last week I tried to post this meme called Butt Hurt Remover?
Yeah.
I tried to post this thing on Facebook called Butt Hurt Remover. Instantly cures hurt feelings over internet postings and other things that are none of your business. Red hot sale, $3.99. It has an image of a person with prongs, electrical prongs attached to their fingertips plugging into an outlet. Facebook said it violated their community standards. They wouldn't let me post it. Dale Patrick Bennett in Iowa, he got banned for 3 days for posting the same thing.
The same image.
Same image. So I did it to see what would happen. And,
it's really amazing. I've got a guy I went to high school with, and I should actually have you connect with him because he purposely will post the most offensive shit that you've ever seen in your life, and he's been doing it for years. And he'll get his bans, but the stuff that I see from him coming out almost every day is much more offensive than that could ever be.
Well, after that I posted 3 images of almost half naked Asian girls snorting cocaine, and that didn't violate their community standards at all.
No, it wasn't.
Violate my
apparently, it wasn't political enough.
It makes me wonder if it is an actual image that like the embedded information in the hyperlink is going to actually something that it was flagged once, and so now they know that image is going to flag immediately.
Well, Rob has a theory. It's just like Facebook and their censorship. They are censors, big time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know Zuckerberg will tell you differently, but it's like all the other left-wing media outlets, and I even though Google's technically not a social network, it's everything is slanted towards a left-wing position. So that's nothing new.
So I'd like to talk about our highlight from last week. I don't know if it's your highlight, but it's definitely mine, and we're going to play a clip from CNN right now. So hold on, and we'll discuss this in a moment.
So Senator Sanders, I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
I disagreed. Bernie is my friend, and I am not here to try to fight with Bernie.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion, we'll have that discussion. You told me. All right, let's not do it now.
I don't want to get in the middle, but I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good. Okay.
What'd you think of that?
When I saw that, I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, I'll just give my quick 2 cents. There's no way that wasn't staged. Some of the executives from CNN basically coaxed Liz Warren to basically orchestrate that whole hot mic moment. Bernie, I don't think Bernie had a clue. I mean, he was caught like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, he was like, what?
But I think if you take a look at that, and if you kind of match that up with the new, today's, or was it yesterday or today's New York Times endorsements, Bernie was been a darling of the left forever, but now they're promoting Liz Warren and Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar is not a far left Democrat; she's a centrist. But I think it was kind of a fuck you to Bernie. Hopefully, I could say the word fuck and just talk from. Yeah, all right, good. I really think that they're trying to promote this narrative that they need to put up a female presidential candidate. So it's nothing new. Those two media outlets always work in tandem together. So there's no question in my mind that whole event was orchestrated by CNN.
Tulsi Gabbard commented on that and mentioned that when she announced her candidacy, Bernie Sanders congratulated her. In fact, she said, Bernie and I met for more than 2 hours in December 2018 to discuss the 2020 election, our past work together, our shared goals, beating Donald Trump, taking back our government from the wealthy and well-connected, and building an economy that works for everyone. She said, among the topics that came up, what would happen if Democrats nominated a female candidate? I thought a woman could win. He disagreed. He said, I also met with Bernie Sanders before announcing that was Elizabeth Warren. I also met Tulsi, I misquoted that. That was Elizabeth Warren that said that quote. Tulsi Gabbard said, Sanders showed me the greatest respect. I met with Bernie Sanders before announcing my candidacy. We both had a nice one-on-one conversation. I informed him that I would be running for president. And in that meeting, he showed me the greatest respect and encouragement, just as he always has. So there you have it. And you met Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, she's obviously the New Hampshire primary is coming up here in the next few weeks or so. So she's campaigning pretty hard out here. And she came to Hudson, New Hampshire and made the circuit probably about a month or so ago. My wife and I went to go see her. And I think as I, articulated to you in that letter I sent you.
Yeah. Could you share that with the listeners though?
Yeah, I just, the one thing that I wanted to see her in person. She's as authentic as she comes advertised, and she does a great job at presenting herself. She doesn't sway from her principles, and we, heard everything about her beliefs from her being an anti-war candidate, even though she's a military vet. She spoke of basically the divisions in the country and the need to try to bring us together. And I know that probably sounds a little trite and cliche, but she truly, believes that. And she has a demonstrated track record of working with both parties on both sides. It was kind of cool. She came out with these macadamia chocolate toffee treats. So, and when she first got elected to Congress, she tells the story of how her mother made an unbelievable amount of these treats, and she basically gave everybody in Congress, all 435 members, a tray of this as kind of an extension or an olive branch. And again, her record demonstrates that she's been able to work with both sides of the aisle, and she's not a crazy far leftist. I think she's probably more libertarian than anything. She probably is more like the Ron Paul political school than anything else.
Well, she scares the DNC. I mean,
she should scare the DNC. I mean, the DNC has an agenda. They want to push this country, further to the left, and I think. The crazy part is Obama we all thought he was this extreme far leftist, but he actually looks more of a centrist now compared to some of these crazy fuckers that they have up on stage. And but what I really think what they thought is that there was going to be a Democrat that was going to get elected in 2016, and Trump came in and really upended their plans for the transformation of this country. And that's what they're angry about more than anything, in my opinion. And yeah, he can be an asshole and he's bombastic, but he really stopped this country from going to going to the left or going to the extreme left. And in fact, we're probably going back more towards the center now.
But the extreme left got radical. I mean, just ridiculously radical. It's like stupid.
Yeah, and the problem is their ideas don't resonate. Of course, they're not going to resonate with right wingers, but they don't resonate with independents or people that are middle on the road. So who do you have left who's going to vote for this agenda? You're going to have a very small percentage of the electorate. That's just the reality.
Well, the DNC is so fractured. We know that Trump's going to get elected. Everybody knows that now. Mike, everybody's saying that. They know it. Where do you see Tulsi Gabbard in 2024?
I think, I think as I told you, as I wrote to you in that letter, my personal opinion is that Trump's going to win the Electoral College by a landslide. He's probably going to lose the popular vote just because of New York. He's not going to get impeached impeached. My wife's saying if he doesn't get impeached, he's not getting impeached. But he's going to really the divisions in this country when he gets reelected. It's going to become wider and more divided, and the Democrats are going to actually have to abandon their current playbook, and they're going to have to move towards a more pragmatic approach and a centrist candidate that can resonate with independents. Because the independents, in my opinion, are not going to come out for Liz Warren. They're not. You might get some that come out for Bernie, but most people don't want socialism. Most people vote with their wallets, myself included, and they're going to have to get somebody like Tulsi in 2024. They're going to have to prop her up, and they're going to have to listen to her views, and they're going to realize that she's going to resonate, with that 66 to 70% of the population that's not crazy, to put it simple.
And when we're done talking, before we get to Emily's big New York trip, I'm going to play the latest Tulsi Gabbard commercial spot where she addresses the division of this country, which is absolutely pathetic and it's ridiculous and it need not be, but that is just how things are. When the left don't get their way,
they're petulant. They're a petulant group. And look, I voted for Trump because he was, you had a binary choice, and he was the best choice for my own self-interest. And that's the way I vote. I vote with my own self-interest. That's the way I'm always going to vote. And that's the way most people vote, whether they want to admit it or not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. And here we are again. They're going to put up a leftist candidate, and you're going to leave people with another binary choice. And people are going to vote for Trump, but there's going to be a silent. There's a silent faction out there that's never going to admit that they vote for Trump because they don't want to be condemned. They don't want to be called racist or sexist or whatever.
Phobic.
But they're not. They're going to vote. They're going to vote for what's in their best interest of their wallet. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be.
I think politics altogether right now has turned into a nasty schoolyard because the thing is that there's somebody that nobody likes, and so if you get caught talking to them, then you're going to lose all your friends, and it's ridiculous, quite honestly. And I wish I would have researched this more before. I really wish I would have. So I'm only going to toss this out here as food for thought because I can't even argue the point at all. But something that I became aware of early into adulthood was that there is somewhat of a life expectancy of a democracy. We're pretty much at it. And so I think that what's going on is that there's turbulent waters on either side. I don't necessarily think that either side is going to come to a central vote. I think that, or a central decision, I think that there's turbulent waters on either side. It's going to take a bridge in the middle, literally. So you can call it, the person who ends up delivering that message can call themselves what they need to. But I think, like you said, silently, we're all going to know really what's going on.
I think when we say, our democracy is going to die, I think it's a little bit, hyperbolic to say that.
Yeah.
I think when things come to a head, there'll be some type of correction. It happens in all. It happens in it happens in a democratic society. It happens in capitalism.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some type of correction. But unfortunately, I don't think the correction is going to come till 2024.
No.
It's not going to matter really who you vote for. If you vote for Trump in 2020, or if you vote for whoever the Democrats put up, regardless, the divisions in this country are just going to get sharper and much more divided, regardless of who you choose in this election. And it's going to be another 4 years of both sides going batshit crazy, and then eventually, I'm optimistic that by the time the next election rolls around, that people are going to be forced to try to meet in the middle somewhere.
And Tulsi's a unifier, but the left doesn't want a unifier. They do not want to get along with it.
They don't want to yet, but once they realize that this brand of politics and this ideology does not resonate with the majority of the population, and once they have that come to Jesus moment, it's they're gonna have to move their politics towards the center, and they're gonna have to tell all these crazy leftists. They're gonna have to make them irrelevant. The biggest problem with Barack Obama's election in 2008 was he legitimized the left. The left got much more exposure, and they got the airtime on the networks, and here we are today as a result of that.
Well, this whole thing the division leads me to the next thing, and
sure.
And we'll start it off with this little bit.
Kiss it. Huh? Apologize. Kiss it.
Huh?
You want me to kiss your...
That's right. You broke up
apologize.
A little bit.
Okay. I'll see here. Apologize.
Who said apologize?
That was Randy Marsh kissing Jesse Jackson's ass. I wanted to talk about my second favorite thing last week was the social justice warrior outrage over Vince Vaughn shaking hands with Donald Trump at that football game. That was this guy, Timothy Burke, kicked off the outrage. He posted, "I'm very sorry to have to share this video with you, all of it, every part of it." And people went apeshit. One lady posted, I'll never not see this image when I look at Vince Vaughn. It may have ruined my favorite movies. It'll stop me from going to more of his movies." One lady talked about how she was going to destroy all of his DVDs.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to turn those people, and they're just, nobody's paying attention to them anymore. They're always going to be nuts. They're always going to be extremists.
Well, late last year at a football game, Ellen DeGeneres sat with George W. Bush and got a bunch of shit. Remember that?
Yeah.
What is with the outrage?
Schoolyard.
Over being, yes, exactly, schoolyard. I just think the Vince Vaughn thing's hysterical. It just shows what fucking babies these people are. He's a good actor. He's fucking hilarious.
Well, that's why they're not drawing anybody over to their side. I mean, that's why they're not successful in recruiting the independents over to their way of thinking, because of actions like that.
Well, Vince Vaughn, in the wake of the controversy, a rep for Vaughn told People magazine that he and Trump did not attend the championship together. Instead, they met this evening at a game briefly. As for Vaughn's politics, he told Playboy in 2015 he's a libertarian, saying trusting the federal government to know what we need and to run things, well, feels like a bad idea. Adults should be allowed to decide whatever's in their best interest, what makes sense for them, unless they commit fraud or physical force or take somebody's property. So.
Oh, how awful.
He's just a terrible person. The other thing I wanted to talk, did you watch Shameless yesterday?
Yeah, I watched it yesterday, and I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that bad. Well, I knew the thing was going to happen at the plant shop. I knew the lady wasn't going to sell flowers. Well, anyway, but it wasn't that bad. It was 2 weeks ago. There was an episode that I sat and I documented the things that irritated me about their progressive agenda and platforms. It's like I couldn't even enjoy this 1 hour show without them throwing some sort of progressive message in it. And
I don't get hung up on that crap, because you know what, if you really kind of watch the show carefully, it's probably like an 80-20 split when they're trying to promote some type of political message. Obviously 80% is more progressive, but they do from time to time, will attack the other side. So I don't know if you caught this in the show yesterday. What's the Debbie and the new girlfriend, her daughter, and they said something to the effect of, what does your generation stand for? And I'm paraphrasing here, but okay. Debbie said, we talk about, we take stances on issues we really know nothing about, and referring to how our generation acts. So that was kind of a slight towards the progressives. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, actually, she has some good lines. When they were talking about the straws, when Julia wrote, they were talking about Debbie, she said, would you like a drink of my root beer? Julia said, out of a straw, no thanks. Debbie said, what's wrong with straw? Julia goes on to say, nothing if you don't like the environment, which you clearly don't with your plastic straw and pre-emission standard Subaru. 90% of the turtles will be born with plastics in their system in the next 10 years due to largely to you, and billions of straws Chicagoans throw carelessly into Lake Michigan, which churn their way through the Great Lakes, then down the St. Lawrence Seaway into the Atlantic Ocean, where our global water currents eventually distribute them throughout the world. It's my generation that's going to have to save the world, and your generation shit all over. Debbie said, I'm 3 years older than you.
Yeah, I don't know. I took I saw that almost mocking the left and mocking like these. I don't even think that those girls would be considered millennials, but I almost took it as them mocking the young left progressives. That scene.
Yeah, that did absolutely. Yeah, but Debbie I think she's my favorite character on the show right now. I like Lip.
Oh, yeah. They propped her up. She's a main character. After Fiona left the show, she's been propped up. She's great. I didn't think I'd like her, but I think she's hysterical now.
How'd you like Frank and the gardener guy?
Oh, fucking Frank's the best. Frank's the best. He's just it's a brilliant character.
Hey Rob, thanks for talking to us, man. It's really nice to have you as our first guest.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
I'm looking forward to seeing you and having wings with you and your wife and getting together in Chicago, and hopefully I can make my way out to the East Coast soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's make it happen.
All right, you take care. Let's hear from Tulsi Gabbard.
Like so many of you, it is painful and disheartening to see how much divisiveness is being fomented by those who wish to tear us apart. We have people in positions of power who are not thinking about the well-being of the people and our planet. Where is that conversation about the needs of our people? Where is the conversation about peace? Every time we launch these interventionist regime change wars, it is not only our veterans who pay the price for that. Every single one of us pays the price. We have spent trillions of your taxpayer dollars to pay for these wars, taking those dollars away from our communities and our people who need them right here at home. We are the ones who have the power to make change. It takes every single one of our hands, our hearts, and our voices, motivated by this love and aloha, to take on those forces and those obstacles that can seem too great to overcome. There is no force more powerful than love. This is how we come together as Americans. This is why we fight for the future that we hope will be so much brighter for those that we care about, for the country that we love.
I wish people would listen to her message. Emily, welcome back. What happened with you in the bathroom?
Oh my God.
She drove up here in the cold, and first thing you got to do, first thing I do when I get home from work is I got to pee.
Yeah. So I walk in the door. I'm stuck in a little bit of traffic when I get here, and forgot about the construction on the Dan Ryan, and so I get in here and close the door thinking that I'm alone in the bathroom because why would there be anybody else in here? And here I am in my most vulnerable state, and now pops this head of a kitten from your shower.
Did it scare you?
Yeah.
Scared the piss out of you, didn't it?
Scared the piss out of me. I was out of the corner of my eye because I wasn't really looking at your shower curtain, although it's a beautiful shower curtain.
I love that shower curtain.
I wasn't really looking over there. I just knew there was movement.
The mermaids were coming alive.
Startled me.
I had a great week. Do you mind if I share some things with you?
I want to hear it all.
And you've got some exciting stuff coming up, and we're going to have you back on February 16th to talk about it. But we're going to talk about what you're going to do after I talk about this fantastic week. Okay. I wish I had weeks like this more often. First of all, I laughed over the political stuff. It's too funny. My friend called me, I think it was Monday night, to tell me he had a dream. He was out to dinner with some friends. And on Mondays, I usually don't feel like talking to anybody. I go back to work. I just want to wind down after my weekend, which is usually busy with this show. Mm-hmm. And he called me after dinner, and he said, I got to tell you about this dream. I can't mention his name because of the context of the dream. Not to say that there's any reason why he had this dream, because I can't understand why he had it. So this goes back.
I'm worried to be on the podcast with this dream. Okay.
So he had a dream that we were hanging out at his house or some house, and the doorbell rang, and it was Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick and Slash of Guns N' Roses.
Nice combo.
And a bunch of Asian hookers.
Of course.
And hence I put
his dream or your dream, because this sounds like your dream.
I know, right? Well, and apparently Slash just laid out tons and piles of cocaine everywhere. Cocaine. He said everybody was doing cocaine. The Asian hookers were doing cocaine. And so that's why I put the picture of the Asian hookers up.
To test it.
Yeah, to see what Facebook would do, which is nothing. And also I teased the listeners, do you want to know why I'm posting these pictures of Asian hookers? I put them on Instagram, and I put them on Twitter. If you want to know why, tune in to the next show. So
that's one way of marketing.
Yeah, we'll see if. So there you go. And it's interesting because this week, this is just in the last couple of days. Now, this is going to blow your fucking mind. This is just in the last couple of days. Other than the cities in the U.S. that have been listening to us, we've had listeners in Florence, Italy, Genova, Italy, Istanbul, Turkey, Tranent, United Kingdom, El Prat du Labro, something, Spain, Kempten, Germany, Stuttgart, Germany, Tabby, Sweden, Berlin, Germany, Mogla, Turkey, Kokolada, India, Sunderbrew, Norway. I think that's Mortis, who's going to be on our show Saturday. Hereford, Germany, Chadswoods, Australia, Algiers, Spain, and Rice, Turkey. Is that fucking crazy?
It's the network you've created, man. Be proud.
I mean, and ever since we had Ari on the show, and I'm going to talk about him more in a minute, because I spent some time with him this weekend.
He's interesting.
Yeah, and because of his status as a legendary horror film star, we've had a lot of listeners, and I'm just blown away by that, and I couldn't be happier. And I got to thank everybody and Cassie for their hard work on this, and you for making the trip up here to fill in when we need you. So thank you. Last Wednesday, I had lunch with my best friend of like 25 years, Greg Miner. When I met him, he was the guitar player for the Electric Hellfire Club, which is still one of my favorite bands. He went on to do a band called Sons of Midnight with Rich Frost, and then formed his own solo project called Sunwheel Psychedelic. And he's been doing this thing for about 15 years. We worked together a lot on the first album when it came out. He put another album out after that. Now he's got a new one, which I got to listen to, called Misanthropic Moods. And he'll be on the show when he has the artwork for that. But I haven't seen.
Not to throw your flow, but I'm just curious. You said you worked on it also. What were you?
No, I didn't work. I worked on the promotion for it.
Okay, that's what I was curious. It was like a marketing.
We had record release parties, and I put that thing in the hand of every rock. So that MK Ultra was huge in 2004.
Well, the network is clearly.
And so I handed that CD to everybody, and made sure that they had it. Whether they listened to it or not, I don't know. But Greg is just—he's like a brother from another mother, for real. He and Dale. Greg has been there for me in ways that, I mean, I'm talking financially. He's largely responsible for my hip replacement.
Oh wow.
He chimed in $5,000 on that.
Yeah, that's family.
On the deductible.
That's family.
Great guy. Yeah, super fucking good guy because he cares. And we've had a lot of. I mean, I'm looking at him there. We hadn't seen each other since my colonoscopy when he picked me up, and that's December of 2016.
I'm sorry, but that's just that I had
that's how
like
good
a
of a
lunch
friend.
Date with someone last time I was in New York, and that was like the first thing that
colonoscopy.
Yeah, squeaky clean. I'm just like, what? That's how you lead a car. Okay, that's friendship right there.
He turns 50 this year, so he's gonna have his. It's not that bad. It was the only bad thing was like there was a lot of people in the room. I'm like, why are these students in here? I didn't get knocked out. I was awake through the whole thing. They put the drugs in me, but apparently I have immunity to these. Yeah. I wonder how that could happen.
To get knocked out.
All right. Sleeping pills on time. Anyway, Greg, I listened to his new album. It's fucking heavy. It's good. I've got a favorite song on it. He knew, and this is how well we know each other. He knew which song I would like. Mm-hmm. And Greg went with me to my very first Adult Video Awards in Las Vegas. We did that together. We've had a lot of adventures, and I told him as we're sitting there, I said, and he's married now, lives on the North Shore. He's working on a family. He's got a great wife. She's Asian, from the Philippines, and I met her once. I took her to see the Cult
Okay.
So we went to see the Cult together, and I got us a VIP box. So she got the real MK treatment. And at one point I said, Greg, how many thousands of dollars in free drinks do you think we've had in the 25 years that we've been friends?
Wow.
And then I also told him, like, sometimes I run the train, and I do. I'm running the train, and I just start laughing, and people look at me. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking of some of the things that we've done in our wild years. I had a wild streak, and Greg and I, he explained it once. When we're together, it's like a lightning rod for trouble.
Wow.
I mean, we fed off of each other's energy. He's a mellow guy.
Yeah.
Very mellow.
Yeah, but regardless of your personality, sometimes you, especially in certain industries, I feel like you attract experiences differently, right?
Well, we're both in the industry and both like the same music pretty much. We've seen Motorhead and the Cult so many times. And just, we went to see Kiss once. I had VIP. We were on the stage, Kiss's stage, and my attorney was in the audience. And he's like, man, there's Xander and Minor on stage with Kiss.
And I get what you're saying. I think I still kind of stick with what I just said, that I think you get certain friendships where you get into a rhythm of experiences with each other. It's different than when you're just at home, or like, I don't know, you get into a rhythm of sharing experiences. And what can end up happening is, you get 25 years worth of experiences in about 5 years, 5 months sometimes. And then, like you said, sitting there on the train, you just start to realize like everything that happened in a certain frame of time is wild.
It was funny.
You should document it.
And what we got to, no, I can't. He's married. He's hopefully going to have kids, I know. I don't want a paper trail.
A nameless subject in your memoir. There's going to be this anonymous autobiography someday.
We've had the greatest of times, man. Real rock and roll. Well, I'm friends with every member, past and present, former members of the Electric Hellfire Club. And I'm really close with most of them. But Greg, we formed this bond, it's like immediately, and just started hanging. I moved here. We met in 95. I moved here in 1998. We started hanging then. And we really get along. And, but he's mellowed out. He's married. I'm happy for him. He said, you want to get married? Like, no, but I do want a girlfriend. I do want to share my home and my time with somebody, but I don't want to get married, and I'm not going to settle. So
I think that one of the, I'm losing my adjectives here right now, but to have as much, mental independence as you are single and still be able to share a partnership with somebody, that's probably what's most necessary.
Well, and a lot of people are scared. They say, you seem really busy. Or they're intimidated by my past and some of my associations. Well, and if you can't handle that, then forget it, because that's part of me.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I saw another old friend, Max Bravo, and I got up really early Saturday morning to play extras in a video shoot for First Jason.
Okay.
Ari Lehman's band. We got to the Davis Theater at like 7:45 a.m. after that hard snow in the cold and the slush. And there were already people there. There was a bunch of people that drove from Pennsylvania through that snowstorm
to be a part of this.
Because, the storm went east, and they drove through northern Ohio, over, through Pennsylvania, over northern Ohio into Chicago. I asked the guy, I said, did you hit? He goes, we were driving, nothing, and then all of a sudden we just hit a wall of fucking snow. And so Max Bravo and I went to that. I ran into my friend Fabian. He's a drummer for 7 bands. He's a photographer. I haven't seen him in probably 4 or 5 years. And we got to catch up. It was great seeing him. And then we got to play audience members. And we had to do like 5-6 shots of us watching the music video, which had snippets from the first the first Friday the 13th that he was in. And it ends with him coming out of the lake at the end, taking the lady down. And I was screaming Mongoloid. I was screaming. There's one when the guy gets hung on the back of the closet door. I screamed Robin Williams. And when they showed Kevin Bacon, I should have yelled Footloose. I just didn't. And then the lady who was getting chased through the woods, who got her throat cut, I was screaming Susan Sarandon. And they did all these takes, and then they did one where they were like zooming in on you.
Okay.
And this guy had a camera in my face for like, it felt like 2 minutes. I know it was like 60 seconds, but he was just on me because they wanted us to dress like metalheads. So I wore the vest that you made for me.
Okay.
MK Ultra biker vest. So, it looked very metal, and I'm there, and
well, yeah, but he's filming you for maybe 2 minutes. He's trying to get 10 seconds worth of reaction.
Yeah. And so that, and then we were out of there by like 10:15 a.m. and Max and I went to Garcia's, had breakfast, and then we went to
the place right around the corner
in Lincoln Square.
Okay.
No, that's El Palmar. This is in Lincoln Square. So Garcia's has the best margaritas in the city. It's not my favorite Mexican restaurant. My favorite restaurant in the city is El Mariachi, where I took you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my favorite restaurant because I love the atmosphere and the food. But Garcia's, they make a killer margarita. And I'm a snob when it comes to tequilas. When I first ordered there, the bartender said, "You really know your shit." It's like, yeah, well, I'm a snob when it comes to that. Then I took him to Gene's Sausage Shop, a delicatessen, and he saw that they had oxtail. So he bought oxtail to make oxtail soup. And we went to Quake's Collectibles, and then I was home by like 1:30, and we got a lot done and did a lot of things and had a lot of fun.
1:30 in the afternoon. That is a lot to do in that amount of time.
Yeah. Well, we were. I was up at 5:25. He was here like 7:20 in an Uber to get me. We were at the theater by 7:45, and then we did an hour and a half of the shoot, which was cool. So that video, the song is Voorhees is his name, is the name. Voorhees is the name. And it's a good video. It's a good song. And speaking of old friends, Yvette Lira, are you listening? My friend Yvette Lira, this awesome chick, this rock and roll, one of the most rocked out girls I know. If there was a female Alexander, this is her. She had a band in LA once upon a time called Contagious, spelled C-U-N-T.
Oh, yeah.
Contagious. And I was telling Mr. Reactions about that.
I had no questions of how it was spelled when you said it.
Yvette and I talked last night on the phone. She's moving back to Chicago from LA in March. And, I'm a headhunter during the day, so I'm going to hopefully help her get a gig. I want to have her on the show. I haven't seen her in, she used to write for MK Ultra.
Okay.
We go to concerts together. I mean, she's another one. I met her at Industry Night at Fuel, and we connected.
Yeah.
And she was she played Razor Baby and Blood Dolls. She was in the movie Armageddon. So she's done a lot of movies, a lot of music videos, Jacob Dylan video. So she's done a lot in the music industry, and
she'll be here on the show.
She'll be on the show. I can't wait to have her on. I can't wait to get her back in the city. I can't wait for you to meet her because you make clothes, and she's another one you can make stuff for.
I'm excited to meet this lady that you say is the female.
She's a rocker. She really is, and she was in this band. I think Contagious was the band that she had the bass player from My Ruin in it. Isn't Contagious a great name for all female band?
I laugh when I hear it. Yeah.
Also want to thank Laurel Patrick, one of my lesbian friends, for teaching me the female term for teabag, beef dip. And then Jen Krause, a hot singer from Indianapolis, chimed in and said, I always called it clam dip.
There's not much that makes me do, the hashtag facepalm, when that first came out, I was like, this is one of those things where I know exactly what you're saying, but I will not be hashtagging this. And when you sent me that and I saw that was all I could do. That's the reaction.
Laurel's funny. She was like my sister. When I worked at the first lesbian bar I ever worked at in Columbus, Ohio, was called Summit Station. A lot of the lesbians called it Jack's, and she was like my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And we had so many laughs. She's one of the funniest. Well, it's like all the fucking homos I know are funny. My friend, that fag Fred out in Vegas is hysterical, and he's a big supporter of the show. He was the first. Now. He's the first guy that I ever met. It was 1983. It was out of the closet.
Okay.
In the Ohio Valley.
Yeah.
You didn't come out of the closet in the Ohio Valley.
In the Ohio Valley, yeah.
Especially in 1983. He was out. And Fred's fucking funny.
Good for him.
And he supports the show. He everything I post, if I'm promoting something, he's sharing it. So good friend. I haven't seen him in ages, but it'll be good to see him one day. Let's take a break, and I'm going to come back and finish about my week, and we're going to talk about you.
Okay.
Cool.
Every great day starts with a cup of get the fuck out of bed coffee from Martin Atkins and Dark Matter Coffee. Go to darkmattercoffee.com. Look for the big red logo that says get the fuck out of bed. America runs on damage, and it all starts with a cup of get the fuck out of bed coffee. There are 10 commandments and there are 7 deadly sins, but there is only one MK Ultra Magazine. Visit us daily online at www.mkultramagazine.com for entertainment news, reviews, and interviews. MKUltraMagazine.com, home of Alexander's Diary of a Damn Man. That's MKUltraMagazine.com.
Shaft.
Listening to that makes me ask a question here. So the website, and you said, on your daily news, how often do you, that's a blog, right? It's exactly what that is.
Website, I update the news every day as much as possible, as long as there's news that's relevant. And then I have the Diary of a Damn Man, which is, I update. I try to update it whenever there's anything interesting that I do. There's lulls, like at the holidays. I was had the blues. Didn't really want to post much other than pictures. But I post. It goes back. You can look up on the diary, if you go to the bottom, you could go back and see what I was doing this day in like 2003.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Diary of a Damn Man, and it's basically just like the shit that I do. And there's pictures on there that, unfortunately, I know my boss sees at least. Do you know what they call me at work? You know, I can believe this.
I can't even imagine.
I cringe every time they say it, but I don't. I'm too nice to say, don't call me that. They call me Al. Now, Alex is short for Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, Al. And so now my bosses call me Al. It's like, oh, God, I don't work at a gas station. I don't sell shoes. But then I love my job. And I love my coworkers, just like being called Al. And I hear Peggy Bunny, Ow.
Man. Ouch.
Have you seen any of those movies I saw last week? I saw Midsummer.
No, although I did see what would we call this, a synopsis of one of them?
Hereditary, which was good, and Mother, the Darren Aronofsky film. He did The Wrestler, and did Requiem for a Dream, and some other movies. It was intense. Yeah. I had anxiety through it because Jennifer Lawrence couldn't get people out of her house, and they were breaking shit, and I know what that's like. She could not get people out of her house.
She played in which movie was that? The Mother?
Mother. She's good.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
I was, I liked her in the X-Men movies, and I liked her. She's really good in Winter's Bone. No pun intended.
None at all.
And she was good in Red Swan, which my coworker pointed out is a ripoff of Black Widow, the Marvel Comics character. Yeah. But but the first time I found her attractive was those hacked pictures of her. There's dirty sex pictures of her.
Don't think I saw those.
She's dirty.
But I do like, I like it when you see little video, this is one thing the media is good for, I think. When you see video clips online of, or social media, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. Clips online of somebody in their natural, like in their natural state when they're delivering it on their Twitter, or a quick I love checking out the behind the scenes that you catch of somebody. They know they're being, they know they're on video, but it's them. And I like when you can see that human nature of them and then relate it, and then see them perform, and you like both of them. That's really what causes a fan.
There was a really disturbing scene in Hereditary. This little girl, Charlie, gets her head taken off. She's leaning out of a car, and her brother's driving. He's stoned.
Yeah,
and it hits a phone pole, takes her head off. That's actually based on a real life incident from 2005 in Marietta, Georgia, in which John Kemper Hutchinson accidentally decapitated his childhood friend and passenger, Frankie Brom, on a telephone pole after the latter had leaned his head out of the vehicle to relieve the symptoms of his inebriation. Hutchinson then drove home with Brom's headless corpse in the car and fell asleep until a passerby walking with his toddler noticed Brom's body still in the truck the next morning and notified the authorities. So left the head at the scene.
Oh my!
That happened in the movie, and it freaked me the fuck out. So I didn't see it coming. So the same director that did Hereditary did Midsummer, which was a big movie from last summer, and he's a young guy. His name is Ari Aster, and he's my new favorite horror film writer director. I like him a lot. So Emily.
Hey, Alex.
You're going to New York. What's going on in New York City?
Yeah, I leave in like 2.5 weeks. Normal industry stuff for me.
What is it? What are you doing? What is it? What is it about? And what's your part?
Okay. Oh, all right. For my industry, there are 4 cities in the world that twice a year put on these shows.
You're a fashion designer. You have EK Designs, right?
EK EK. Yeah, my initial, grandparents' last name, carrying on. I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, 4 cities in the world. So New York, Milan, London, Paris are the ones who are. It's kind of like going to an accredited college, I guess. You know what I mean? Like they belong to some certain thing. So the city itself, you have to, within this 5-day block, if you're going to put on a fashion show in New York City during that time, you have to have certain, permits basically. So that's where you want to be in that amount of time. It kind of like, it's validation really is what it is. So you go there. Used to be that you wanted to go there because that's where buyers for stores and people who are going to buy stuff for major names, they were going to be there during that time. Now it's really about exposure. So, I'm basically going to flaunt my art.
And
I mean, that's
do you have a show?
Yeah. It's so there's a venue right on the edge of Hell's Kitchen, which is a neighborhood. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Daredevil's from there.
Nice. So
Iggy Pop wrote a song called Hell's Kitchen. So did the Cult.
Listening to that on the way
Cult
home.
and Iggy Pop did it together. Hell's Kitchen. Okay, go ahead.
I love Iggy Pop. So there's a venue right there. I'll be putting my stuff in a collective show. I think there's maybe like half a dozen designers, and then so we'll put on the show. Socialites will be there. There's it's all connected nicely, and then there's an after party. Lots of photography is going to be going on.
Do the models come out in your stuff? Then do you come out and so that you're the designer like I see on TV?
Like you see on TV, it's going to be absolutely crazy from the moment I get there. I'll be there for about 6 or 7 days, and literally from as soon as I'm out of whatever vehicle I get there, then
what's your day? What's your typical day like?
So when I get there, I'll unload. Obviously, I'll set up a studio of sorts, like a workshop out of my hotel room. So the all the clothes are going to come out. Steamer. I'll probably have a sewing machine there. There'll be fittings at the hotel room. I've got models. I've worked with that are coming from a few different cities in our country. Like mostly on the east side, and then there'll be some models there in New York that are going to meet up with me when I'm there. So we'll do fittings one day, and then there's a rehearsal at the venue the next day. You start first thing in the morning. You gotta it's like a bunch of organization. It's like a bunch of administrative work, only it happens to be with art.
Have you ever had an emergency happen, like where somebody ripped something and you got to stitch?
Every time.
Yeah, for instance?
Every time. I mean, I go with, first of all, you think you know exactly what size everybody is. So I've got measurements ingrained in my brain. I know people by your number. I know, right. Yeah. So I know what your circumference is. So I go there with, small scissors, needle, thread in my pockets. And, you got to ready to be adjusting at all times. I mean, and the one model's not necessarily just going to be not just going to be wearing your clothes. They're going to be wearing clothes for 3 different people, and they're going to be in a rush because they're there to work. I mean, they're there to work that week, so they're probably booked nonstop just as much as I am, going from fitting to fitting across town. So they're ripping clothes on and off. They're tossing them. You got to catch them, and some people respect it more than others. But
do you ever lose anything?
Yeah, actually. But the last time I lost a piece, it was a skirt. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to replace it, and somehow I ended up with somebody's really expensive, $70 leggings in my luggage too. So I was like, all right, trade for trade.
Nice. Do you ship your clothes there, or do you take it with you in the car?
Yeah, I'm going to take it with me. When I fly, oftentimes, my collection is my carry-on, and because I don't want to lose it, and everything that I'm going to wear or use is in a backpack.
You can't fly with your sewing machine, can you?
No, but usually there's if you stay in the garment district, there's a place where you can go rent time on an industrial machine, as soon as you get there.
I've been to the garment district.
Yeah,
my one and only trip there, I had liquid lunch with Eric Records, talking about our next guest, who's going to be on the show Saturday, Mortis.
Okay.
And so I'm downtown, and of course, found the Meatpacking District later, which is where this club was I went to. This is a week before 9/11, so New York's changed.
Yeah.
It was 1 week before 9/11. It was during the U.S. Open I was there.
Wow.
And I went and met with record labels. They closed up, had liquid lunches, and we're going to talk about more in a little bit. So tell us more. So how many days are you there? 5?
5 or 6, yeah.
Where do you stay?
I'm staying Holiday Inn in the garment. It's a walking distance to the venue that I'm going to be staying at.
Is it a high-rise Holiday Inn?
don't think so. Yeah, actually, because I woke up last time. I woke up and looked out the window, and I was looking at the Empire State Building. So
wow,
it was gorgeous. I've got a picture of that. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna plug your on this show. We're gonna show your the image that you posted today on Instagram that I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll show that now, probably.
All right.
And then you'll come and talk to us on the 16th about how it went.
Okay, I would love that.
And so what do you look forward to most going? Because I know it's just a lot of work for you. What time do you get to bed? Are there parties?
Yeah, there are. I was sitting with a friend of mine, Elizabeth, who's going. She's going there. I mean, we met each other because she modeled for me. And now she's family. I mean, she's like a sister. We're sitting there, and she's ready. I mean, she's a planner. She's ready to hear the details, top of the day to the bottom of the day. And to me, you just get there. Like, I know that I need to go. My carry, like, small rolling suitcase is basically a small studio. I've got stuff already in there. I got zippers. I have everything I need to sew in there. And then I shove the collection in there, and I layer my clothes so that I don't even have to worry about packing myself. And if I got to wash a tank top in the sink, I'm going to do it. Like,
I guess that's the nice thing about it being in the cold. You wear layers.
Yeah, I do. I wear layers even if I'm flying to Miami though too. I don't like.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
I don't like the idea of losing my luggage. Everything is going to be either in the overhead compartment or it's at my feet. And yeah.
Hey everybody, Emily does yoga.
I do yoga. I stand on my head and shit.
What did your daughter do? One handstand like a year or so ago?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now how old's your daughter?
She's 10. She just turned 10.
And she did she did a single handstand?
Yeah. Yeah, she practiced. I mean,
at 9 years old.
Yeah, she's a little acrobat.
Wow. She's a mini you.
She's a mini. I
haven't seen your kids in like 3-4 years.
Short version of me, but she is brilliant. My kids, I think, sometimes are more intelligent than half the adults I speak to. Actually, I would.
And you homeschool.
I do, but I would wager about a lot of people would say that about their kids right now. That I think that's what's going on in our world. But yeah, I do homeschool because I travel. I homeschool so that I don't miss out on what they're doing, and they don't have to be taken out when I leave.
Do they have cell phones?
No, they don't.
They
I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they don't have cell phones.
Good.
They're not very happy about
it. At some point, do they have to go to school? How's that work? Are you going to homeschool through graduation?
We have not decided that yet. We'll revisit that when my oldest is he's 6th grade right now. I mean, he does 7th grade work, but he's 6th grade technically. And when it's time for him to go to high school, we'll decide really where we're at with that. But no, they don't have to at any point in time. I just have to, in our state, you have to submit their grades once they start high school age. That's all.
I remember one of our first conversations. I was very interested in how that homeschooling works. You were homeschooled.
For high school, yeah.
Wow.
Just for high school.
So no more Bears camp in Bourbonnais.
I heard about that. I'm a little disappointed. A lot of people where I live.
That's great for the tourism down there.
But the people that live right there, they can't stand it.
Oh, I know.
But I'm like, I love it. It's you just know where not to drive for a few weeks. Really.
I know when not to visit the loony bin.
That's true.
During that, and then when that college has their homecoming or whatever, that Christian college down there, what's it called?
That's where they'd stay, though. That's where the Bears stayed.
Yeah. Well, then when I remember coming down there one time when I couldn't stay at the hotel I like, the Comfort Inn. I had to stay at the Motel 6, where you dropped me off at, and its swimming pool was a cesspool. This place was a dump. I got a room there. Adrian got a room there. Ann and Dale came from Iowa and got a room there. It was a fucking pit. It was the worst place I've ever stayed.
That was the time I picked you up at the Amtrak?
Yes. Yeah. And then I had lunch with you and your kids at the Cracker Barrel.
They still talk about you as the clown guy because he
he
took us to lunch. And I'm looking at a picture full of them right now, actually, on your bar here. But
clown noses.
Yeah, clown noses for each of the kids. So yeah, they think of you as the clown guy.
Hey, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about pot and hamburgers.
Want a killer look without breaking your wallet? Try Killer Beards. All beard products are made with natural ingredients to stop beard dandruff and itching before it starts while giving you a smooth, silky beard that smells amazing. Choose from 5 amazing scents that will have everyone saying,
Wow, that's a killer beard and it sure does smell good.
Also available are shampoo and bars of rough cut soap. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Etsy at etsy.com/shop/Killer Beards. That's Killer Beards. Use the discount code MKUltra20 for 20% off. That's MKUltra20.
I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. My brother, I'm going to show it. This is a 1982 poster from a Roxy Music album. Notice it says album and cassette, no CDs.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even see the word cassette anymore. Vinyl's making a comeback.
It is.
So I had this in one of my first apartments, my first couple apartments when I was a bachelor, when I was young, like 20, hanging in my living rooms. My brother loved it. He never forgot it. And so I don't know what happened to the one I had. We're talking a long time ago, the 80s. And so I think I lost it around 86, 87. And then, so my brother never forgot it. He found it for me, and I just had it dry mounted at Blix. Look at that thing. It's going in the Warhol room. It'll be the only piece of art
in the Warhol room
that's not Andy Warhol in that room. So I want to thank my brother Blue for that.
It fits.
It's cool. Talk about pot real quick. This state's stupid. Pot taxes, marijuana taxes this summer are going up to 41%.
That's
just this past week, Thursday, they increased 3% levy on marijuana sales. It hasn't been legal a month. They already increased it 3%, and it's going to be up 41% by July in Cook County. The Cook County Board will vote on approving the cannabis retailer's occupation tax on recreational pot sales.
Do you know the stats? Is there anything that has that high of a tax on it?
No. Cigarettes are high here. Liquor, booze and liquor's high here. Another thing I wanted to point out is the doctors have reported that spikes in ER visits have increased. People are eating too many edibles.
Oh, wow.
And we're seeing in the way the symptoms of palpitations, your heart beating faster, anxiety type symptoms crawling out of your skin. Some more extreme cases we're seeing full-on psychosis, meaning patients are agitated and maybe having hallucinations. Increase in ER visits due to marijuana use have been found in other states that have legalized the drug in the past, including Colorado. Cannabis edibles lead to more adverse drug events that send people to the emergency room than do inhaled products. So that's fucked up. I mean,
it is. What do you think about that? Because I mean, you're pro, you're pro.
Yeah, but I'm not
right?
I'm not a pothead. I don't get high. And I've used it. I've talked before. I've used it to sleep, and I've used it for sex, and that's it. I
would think those would be on opposite ends of the spectrum.
But I've got anxiety from it.
Okay.
Sometimes I think things that don't make sense. I think 5-6 things that at once, and I can't sleep because my mind already works too hard as it is, and I already have anxiety. I have to take sleeping. I take trazodone to sleep every night. I can't sleep without it. Pot helps me sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I smoke too much, I think too much. And
there's many different strains, so some are going to make you calm down, some are going to make you hyper, right?
It's much more stronger than it was in the 60s. That's 60s and 70s. The doctor said you can overdose on cannabis. In social media, there's a lot of memes out there that say you can't overdose on pot. That is incorrect. You can certainly overdose and have profound clinical effects that require medical intervention to get under control. So there's that. And I watched a thing from one of my former employers today, this temp agency I worked for, and they were talking about you can still get fired for using marijuana.
Mm-hmm. I think we all need
and
that, though.
HR, the whole state, they're trying to find, they have their hands full, this headline says. They're trying to find ways to deal with it. And just like the police, they're looking for a way to test. Because there is no way in this state, if they can find they can get money for you driving impaired on marijuana, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
So that's the pot talk. Saturday, Cassie and I are going to Reggie's and going to see an old friend of mine, Mortis, from Norway. He's doing his second American tour in 2 years. And before that, he hadn't been here since the last time I saw him, which was around 2005.
Where'd you meet him?
I met him, we started talking in 1995 when I lived in Indianapolis, and MK wasn't even a year old yet.
Okay.
And I really got into his music. His publicist, Mike Mazur and Debbie Snello, knew I was going to look. His music has changed 3 times. So he's doing era. He's doing his, and we're going to have him explain it to everybody on Saturday. But it was very slow, instrumental. He calls it dark dungeon music.
Okay.
And this is my Mortis CD collection.
Wow.
And most of them are signed. And I've done record release parties for him. I did an in-person thing with him when he was on the Black is the Black tour here, which was the last time I saw him. That's when he had a full band. He was doing the whole industrial music thing. Yeah. It was close to Skinny Puppy. It was good, but I always was a fan of the dark dungeon music, and he's returned to that. Like the stuff he did on the Cold Meat Industry label was a label from Scandinavia. It was all this like really dark, ethereal or music. Not a lot of vocals, but the vocals that were very haunting and beautiful.
Okay.
Some people call it disturbing. I've played it for people that were scared of it.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff. And so
very electronic.
We stay in touch, and we get to see. He was here at the Forge last November. I just started my new job, and it was on a weeknight, and I couldn't go. Now, since then, our friend Anya, who was on the show a couple months ago, she's opened for him, and they're friends. And so now I'm working with his publicist, his management, and him.
Okay.
About doing the podcast there. So I have to take this gear
to Reggie's.
And we've got to do, Cassie and I got to do the podcast there.
There'll be a second time
and then
you've done like at a venue.
Looney Bin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to do that one again too. And we're going to get there in a second. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Mortis, and that's Saturday, the 25th at Reggie's. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see this guy. I mean, I posted a picture yesterday of us when we met in 1997 in his first American show ever here in Chicago. I didn't live here yet. It was a year before I moved here,
That's
October 1997. And we're standing there, and I've got this giant beer, and he's holding in one hand a can of Coors and the 5 of the 6-pack in the other hand. And somebody took a picture of us just talking. And it was a 3-day party, and he performed that, and we hit it off. He's a Kiss fan. And the first conversation we had when he called me from Sweden, which he was living at the time. And I said, "Are you playing Kiss?" And he said, "Yeah, I was watching Kiss Meets the Phantom." I'm like, "Wow." So then a couple years later, he came, and I gave him a copy on VHS of the Kiss 1977 concert in Houston, which was at that time and still may be the best live concert on tape that Kiss ever did.
Do you agree? I think that in the art world, it's a small world. What do you think? Like, I just feel like there's not that many degrees of separation once you start talking about who you know, who you've been around. Like,
and it's funny that he knows Anya, and then Anya knows my friend Peter from Poland. Mm-hmm. And she's from Poland. Yeah, especially in this niche that we work in, it's not exactly mainstream. Mm-hmm. So people don't get it. People will see his image and freaked out by it. His goblin get up and whatever. He's a fucking cool, smart guy. He's extremely talented.
Yeah.
He just found something that nobody else was doing at the time. His image, nobody was doing. Cassie had mentioned there's another band, Dresses Like Goblins, that kind of lifted that. But yeah, he was the first. And we're going to talk about Lords of Chaos, the movie, because he's in the book Lords of Chaos, and he was part of that whole black metal movement, the Church Burners and all of them back in Norway in the day. He was a bass player in the band Emperor, which were satanic church burners. Yeah. So, and I know he wasn't too pleased with the movie, so that'll be interesting to talk about. And I want to talk about one more thing, but let's take a break and we'll do it.
You're listening to the MKUltrasound podcast. Please feel free to contact us at podcast@mkultramagazine.com.
See what this is? These are 4 big Bufords
I had a hard
that
time
my friend was kind
window.
enough. She was kind enough to bring to me from Bradley, Illinois.
Yeah.
So this is how big a big Buford is.
God.
Last time I was there, I had a triple. It's a heart attack. So you had to bring it to me because the Wicker Park Checkers, that's across town,
Yeah.
Was supposed to open in July of 2019.
He's been counting down.
I biked by there in August when I went to buy a cowboy hat at Akala's.
Everything about this story right now.
And it was just like, everything's there, and there was like paper on the windows. And then, so then Block Club Chicago did a story, and it said, Wicker Park Checkers opening delayed again. This is January 6th. And at that time, they said it was going to be open on the 13th of January. And then it got bumped again. So after months of delay, the fast food restaurant is now eyeing a late January opening, spokesperson said on Monday. In July last year, Checkers initially announced a summertime at the West Division Street location. The restaurant will be attached to and will share an address with Popeyes. Popeyes is open, but Checkers isn't. Now, you know I love this stuff.
I do know.
One of the first times you drove me back from Bradley, I had you stop, and I
and the last time you were in town, I'm pretty sure you had 9:30 a.m. burgers.
Yep, before we had our 1:30 B-dubs.
Yeah, I had my kiddie meal. And you know what I think is funny? I want to share with you a vision that I had, and you're talking about riding by and you're going to get your cowboy hat, and I could just picture, remember when elementary school, when you're having the countdown to Christmas break, and you get those like chain length countdowns, and you take one, down when you get down to one, it's like the day you're going to be out of school. I picture you coming home and doing that about your countdown to Checkers.
And it keeps getting bigger.
But
6 months, come on.
The thing is that when you, Alex, are really passionate about something, you have a way. Oh, we're talking about fast food. We're talking about a drive-through burger joint.
And I don't like fast food.
But you have a way of, when you are really passionate about something, you make it this huge event. Like, I would have thought that you're talking about the opening of Checkers in Wicker Park. I would have thought you were talking about the biggest music festival to come.
Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, like, oh my God. I mean, you got a way of pulling everybody into how important this is to you. I think that's great.
So what'd you think of my friend Rob from Boston?
Oh, he's knowledgeable and passionate about what his stance is, unapologetic about it, and I liked hearing him.
He's a fun guy. He's fun. He's funny. He is. We have a lot of laughs when we hang out. We hung out at the beach last time we hung out.
That's cool.
We ate at
Montrose Beach
Bird's Nest
favorite,
one day.
right?
We went to Montrose Beach one day with Max. A couple years back, I took him to Kuma's at 666 West of Versey. That location's closed, but I took him to Kuma's. So I liked how I said, you know what today is? And he brought me MLK, like Tracy Gunn's birthday.
Well, and I thought to me, it's, it's the beginning of the Aquarius season, and I'm Aquarius, so I'm really excited. So that's a holiday.
When's
for
your
me.
birthday?
February 4th.
Ooh, thanks.
I'm feeling excited about this. So when you said the holiday, but I'm a big supporter of MLK too.
Again,
so
I want to tell everybody, please subscribe. Subscribe to us. Look, the show will be a year old in April. We're not going to see any money from this thing for about another year, but we can't do it without, we have the listeners, as you know, from all over the world, but people need to take the time to subscribe. So if you go to our new YouTube channel, it's a youtube.com/the MK Ultrasound podcast. Just click subscribe, and Cassie's got a little arrow pointing down, subscription button. We need all the help we can get there. And also on our SoundCloud page, which is soundcloud.com/MK Ultrasound podcast, which is where you're probably listening to us right now. We only have 84 followers. Please click follow us. That's all we need. Just follow us, and you'll get updated whenever we have a new show. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to go to my fucking Facebook page or MK Ultra, which you should go to anyway.
Comes from.
What's that?
I think that's where most of it comes from, is Facebook.
Oh, I don't know. I think that Ari, first Jason, did a lot for us. I think that Mortis's people, somebody did something to get. We've had worldwide listeners since the beginning, but this is the most.
And since from the beginning, you have an extremely interesting set of guests. Always, yeah, it's never a boring set of guests.
Well, it's because I know a lot of people. I mean, and it's like when they come through town.
Yeah.
Again, I'm so excited about Mortis. I'm really fucking excited, and his publicist William has been great, and he listened to the show and apparently gave a thumbs up. So, hi William, thanks for listening. Thank you for coming up. Thanks for bringing burgers. Cassie, thank you. We were going to do the show early yesterday, and Cassie worked too much. You had a tire problem, and it worked better to do it after work tonight. So look at her yawning.
She's ready.
She's beautiful, isn't she? Isn't she beautiful? Now, your friend, Natalie likes her.
Natalie.
So I did it again.
Heather.
Why'd I keep calling her Natalie?
I thought you were doing it on purpose.
Oh, fuck Heather. Heather Wagner. Heather's playing next week at the Majestic.
Yeah,
and next same day we're going to be at Mortis.
Yeah, Old Classic Theater in Kankakee.
I wanted to see her. Damn. Well, I'll catch her soon. And Charlie Bonnet 3 is going to get a hold of Nick, and Charlie Bonnet 3 hopefully will be playing. Tracy Guns wrote and produced an album for them and wrote some songs with them. They're a country rock band.
Wow.
From the southern states. And I've been wanting them at the Looney Bin for a while, so it looks like Charlie Bonnet's girlfriend, Brandy, is going to get a hold of Nick, and if they play there, then we're going to do a podcast from the Looney Bin again. That's it. Emily, thanks.
Thanks, Alex.
Everybody, thank you so much, and we'll be back on Saturday with Mortis. Thanks for listening.
From the north end of the Mississippi River in Chicago, Illinois, to the south end in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you've been listening to the MK Ultrasound podcast with your host, Alexander, with our special videographer, Cassandra Belazik, and I'm your executive producer, Too Dark. Tune in for the next episode to see exactly what's going to happen next. You've been listening to the MK Ultrasound podcast.